Here we go. Now you should hear me. Thank you for the mentioning. I just wanted to start my stream on my phone, but unfortunately I can't, and I don't know why. Okay, but now you can hear me. Can see me well. You have the monitor in front of you. Everything is perfect. Fantastic. How are you? How's the day starting? Great to see you all already here when we want to explore the Flutter project a bit more than the last time. The last episode was last week yesterday, on Wednesday, and it was fantastic. We had a deep dive into the Flutter framework. We started to download the Flutter engine, the Flutter project. Today we want to take a further look because we have still some documentation that we have to read before we start. And after that, I want to take a look how we can actually find a project or find an issue that we can work on. And yeah, so it's also new for me. So don't wait that I'm just jumping around inside, creating some PRs and be fantastic. Good and a little scary. Oh yeah, I know. COVID is really a bad topic all over the place. I don't know, here in Germany we don't see so much from it at the moment. We're getting some rising numbers, but it's okay, I would say, at the moment. But other parts of the world it's like crazy. And I think Brazil has also a lot of problems. But I think YouTube has a policy, so I will not talk so much about that. I think that is better. Okay. On the other hand, I want to show you something else because I started this morning because I get now more and more frequently asked questions, and I started like a little small document that I wanted to share with you where I just add now all the questions that we have and put them here in a document so you can find, like, for example, font ligatures, because a lot of people asking me with that unequal sign and equal sign, and with that I can just reference to the FAQ. I think that is a fantastic solution for that. So if you have any questions that I should add, or if you have something that you would add here. I think this music is a bit loud. I think that's just for me. Just give me a second. So, better. Okay, so if you have some questions that I should add here, or if you have something that you think should be answered, it will go now to the Google Docs. Same thing for the stream and upload plan. So if there's changing something, then you have a better access to it. I think that's pretty neat for the future. Okay. But regarding to Flutter project, right? So I have here the IntelliJ Community Edition, and I have already opened both projects that we have at least that open. But now the next challenge comes. And what I did, unfortunately, already for the Flutter framework, I already fetched the newest information and pulled them just to see if everything works fine. And as you can see, since the last time, so since yesterday, there were already a lot of new pull requests merged into master of origin. And with, I don't know how many different files has changed, and most of them in the pubspec.yaml, which is fantastic. Ah, so the test version has upgraded, okay. And also some other dependencies. That is pretty. Hey Minu, hey Vivek, hey Kevin, nice to see you around. Hope you are all well. So and what I will do now is I will push that to my fork so that we have the actual newest version here. And what I also can prepare is going to the GitHub repository and search for Flutter here. Oh geez, I have a bit too much from them. But what we can see is I have here also the Flutter project now. And I think I should have a fork for that. Yep, here we go. And now we should be on the same commit. Yep, 3 hours ago. Perfect. So what do we miss here? Oh, nothing. Okay. So and what I will do is like the last time. Currently we are still working through the documentation. So we finished off the setting up framework development environment the last time. If you remember, we were jumping here inside, I read through the whole documentation and we set it up all that stuff. And at the end, we even installed the good old IntelliJ and override the IDE configurations, just that I make sure that everything is fine here. How do you like the new sound setup? I don't know if you have seen it already. On Twitter I made a picture, so now we have really a microphone stand. It looks still a bit provisoric, but it's getting better. So if you can't hear me well, or if you have some problems with that, just give me a hint. So yeah, there is a lot of new stuff going on. So if anything is changing or you don't like anything, just give me a hint or give me feedback, then we can work together that out. Okay, but now we are working for. It's pretty good. Perfect. Yeah, I know you want that I work more in the engine, but I'm really curious how this will work because I checked out like the README of the engine today because I wanted to upgrade again to the newest version. And I think it was when I started in the README. And already to get the update version, you run g's client sync, and there nothing really happened. It's like, can you see that? I think so. So there is just running some hooks, getting some downloads, got dependencies, but nothing really major happened. So I don't know if the branch has updated. Another thing that I find intimidating is that the branch is currently lying around without a real branch behind it. I don't know how to work with that yet. I could just go to master, but I'm not quite sure here. So I will go through the documentation first before I start to work on the engine. Cool, yeah, so we are working on tree hygiene the next, so which covers how to land a PR, how to do code review, how to handle breaking changes, how to handle regressions, how to handle post-commit failures. What is interesting is the last time I said that the Flutter team is currently or has the policy that if something is not working, everyone should work on that problem till it is fixed. At least that was what I understood. The interesting part here, if we go to the code, we can see that build passing. And if you jump here inside, you come to the Desirous CI. And this is the CI/CD tool of Flutter itself. And you can directly see if something has changed. And depending on the different commits that have been done, you can also see if the build was successful or if it failed, and so on and so forth. Which is pretty cool and gives you like an overview how good the Flutter framework works. But it gives you also a feeling of timings because it is finished in like 40 minutes, 36 minutes, 34 minutes. So that means whenever you push something into the repository, we will take some time till it really gets approved from everything, right? So from the whole CI/CD part. But it's very good to see also that when something failed, it can also fail pretty quickly. So let's see how we will work with that. So what do we have here? The tree hygiene. How to land a PR, exactly. So what I took also the last time, because when I started this session today, I wanted to think about which issue can we really solve, because as I said, I'm not that experienced yet in the Flutter framework. So a good example, or how I would start, or how I wanted to start, is if you just search for the label first, then you'll find something like good first contribution. And this is from the Flutter team prepared for you, or better from the triage workers prepared for us. And they say it is easy for a newcomer to the repository to start to develop something in that. And I checked already these two interesting ones from I think Didman created that. So he says that it is not possible to get a preview for videos. And what I also found interesting, he already started to work a little bit on that. So there is no PR, it's just he changed some labels and so on. But at least there is already something done, and you can see this one is merged already. So this is really a pull request that he created with all the information. And here you can see how much we have to do to create a PR for that at the end. So how to make a very good PR and get some approvals. Like that is the goal that we want to work on, that someone says legitimate at the end. And yeah, so okay, so you have an issue. Let's check that out. So we search for that number. So 61061. Online button missing in material tab target. Is that yours? Yes. So it is a proposal. The outline button constructor doesn't allow for specifying a value for material tab target size. What other buttons do. Raise buttons, flat buttons, alright. Include material tab target size in the outline buttons constructor. See comment here where it was intended to be included in the PR but wasn't not. Okay. So that means the outline button constructor is not allowing the material tab target size, which should be very easy to solve actually because, or which should be easy to solve because or maybe, let's see, because you never know, but, oh, Matt is coming home. Perfect timing. So, but if you have the raised button, flat button, and so on, you have like very good examples, and it should be possible to bring them into your outline button. Sadly, you forgot to add the material property that was part of my original part. So it seems that it is not only forgotten, it is really created something in order to that. And I think it should be possible for us to create there a very nice PR and solve that problem. Okay, but now we have the repository in place, and if we know that, we can work on that stuff. What I will still do is I will go through the rest of the contribution MD just to make sure that we are on the same page. And even if this means we don't merge that today, Ayush, I hope this is okay for you, just to make sure that we understood everything what the Flutter team wants from us. But it's just the last 4 documents, and I think that should be possible for us. But I keep that open. Maybe we can work on that. I'm not sure how it works in the Flutter team yet. If I should write something that I want to work on that issue. But yeah, we have to check that out. I don't know. Because I know it from other open source libraries that you usually write into the comment below, hey, I will work on that. And then other people know that you have took this issue for yourself. Okay, so general process for submitting code to the Flutter repository is as follows. We forked the repository on GitHub. We have done that, so check. If there is not already an issue covering the work you are interested of doing, and if you think your work you are doing is likely to be non-trivial effort, then file a new bug to describe the issue and are addressing. Yeah, that makes absolutely sense, especially for everything, right? That everyone knows what we are working on. And I think you can't even merge a PR without an issue, so that's pretty cool. So if the work you are doing is not non-trivial effort, then discuss your design on the issue. You may find it useful to create a Google Doc to solicit feedback. I think we have read that already. The more buy-in you get from the rest of the team, the easier the rest of the process will be. You can put the label proposal on your issue to indicate that you have a design up for discussion in the issue. Okay, I think that is the related link that we have here, for example. So there is most likely already a proposal inside that explains what we should do here. So what do we see? Fixes, an earlier version of changes, contribution. Okay, but we will take there a look. What do we see? The outline button, okay. So everything has been updated. Some nits, but otherwise looks fine. Nice catch, okay. This is just changing in the comments, that's fine. And then updated PR review, that's fine. Cool. Okay, so it seems something that really needs to be solved, and that's 5 hours ago, so it would be perfect if we can work on that. Jeez, hopefully we can manage that. Okay, if the work you are doing affects our privacy service, I hopefully don't think so, creates a branch of master on your GitHub fork of the repository and implement your change. Make sure it is tested, consider using code coverage tools to check that all of the code is covered by tests. See test coverage for package, I take that on. Everything must be tested. If you think your PR should be exempt, okay, we have read that also. Okay, so what I can do already, because it's not engine work, I hope, because it's just a widget, we will have that somewhere here. And if I'm searching for the file, I think if I'm searching for the outline button, we will immediately find something like this one. And what the Dart SDK. I think that should be there. Let's enable that for the Flutter project and search. I assume it is part of the Flutter Framework, if I'm correct. I thought it will be now updated with the Flutter Framework automatically. So, in the bin? Ah, bin. Perfect. Where is it? Build, lib, sample. Bin cache. So now I'm. You can come. Martab is scrolling through the house. Okay. So you said in bin. I'm in the engine. Okay, that's the problem. So let's check. We have to go to Flutter, I assume. Here we go. And here we find bin, and then we have here the Dart part. And I think that should work. Close enough. I think if we open up the bin folder. With cache and the Dart SDK. Okay, perfect. So now we are on the edge of the Dart because we are working on Flutter master, right? That is like if we check out the master branch, the master channel of Flutter. And now I activate that for Flutter itself and apply the whole thing. Okay, and with that we should get now the possibility to jump into the different code parts here. And that's already pretty good. So let's see. Still not configured. Did it deactivate it? Huh? Not found in there. Okay, that is weird now. I don't know what happened here. Did it remove the Dart part? So in bin cache, usually there should be. Weird. Yes, there should be, but I don't know why. I will now execute Flutter Doctor just to see if there are missing files or something. So waiting for another Flutter command to release the startup log. What is there for? Alright. Okay, so there are some downloads. So it seems there was a I updated the master from origin to our fork, and with that we have to of course update our Flutter stuff, and most likely there was the problem why it is removing some of the cached files. It was just a bit weird that Android Studio took so long to understand that. So it could take a while again. Doctor summary, we get now patch version 120. Connected device is free, fantastic. So and now let's see if I can get this. And I hope in cache Dart SDK bin we find now, yeah, we find now everything, perfect. So if I'm going to the settings, we can see that is now taken, and we have now also all the parts where we can jump right into it. Fantastic. Okay, it's just taking it from there. That's amazing. Okay. We go away with that. We can get rid of that. And if we are working on that, so I don't know if usually it is done, but I would do it now. I will write a comment that I would work on that process here. I would take this issue. Yeah, how to write something nicely, but I think that is fine. something like that. You add she how. Do you think it's a good idea to just add someone, or I can do that, but I don't know. And pings. Okay. Do you just add them like that? Is that something like you would do it? Yes, I know, but I read somewhere in the documentation, I think on the contribution side, that we should not just ping someone. But I think it is fine for this, so let's see how they react. In the worst case, I get like bad feedback. All right, so thank you, Ayush. Yeah, I think that is fine. Someone will understand that I'm new here, so that's all right. I hope at least. Okay, so now we have a lot of documentation, and if you don't know the outline button, well, it is a button like everyone else, like every other button also, like raise button, flat button, and so on. I love this Dart documentation. If you know, you can just jump into the declarations from the documentation. It's fantastic. Okay, so we have the outline button, and it seems that there is a missing property, and the property is called material tab target size. And what I will do is I check the raise button. I got that here. And what I will do is I will search for this. And as you can see, this material tab target size is already here. It is, what was that? IDEA wants to control my computer. Okay. Let's see what this means. Up. Let me do that quickly. So I hope I don't have to restart IntelliJ for that. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so we have this value, and now it's also important where does this value getting used, right? So we can see down here that we use the raw material button, which is like the foundation of all the buttons that we see. So raw material button is always the foundation for them, like raised button, flat button, and so on. And I think also our outline button will have this raw material button. No? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I thought it is like the base. Okay, yes, so the build will use the outline button, and the outline button in its state, fill animation, did update. We have the build, we'll get the animated builder with the raised button. Okay, so the outline button has itself the private builder of the outline button, and there is an animated builder inside, which then surrounds the raised button, which then itself uses again the raw material button. Sounds complicated, but it's actually pretty neat. So we can rely on that. So this one already takes the material tab target size. So what we want to do is pushing down the information. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to the group. Okay, but that we know this means that if I'm correctly, this build function with the raised button, does it already have that property? No. So it seems that our property is not part of here. But what we can do actually, and I will try that if I understood that correctly, is that we can pass down this information, and what I will do is I will even count the number of parameters that we come from the bottom to top. So in this case it's the third one. So if I'm looking here, we have the child animation duration, and it looks like they are exactly the same, and the third one will be then our new one. Something like that. At least this is how I'm thinking I'm doing it. If someone sees something that I'm doing wrong, please tell me. Okay, so now this means that this build function, or better that constructor of this widget, will have to use the same thing, right? So that means this outline button state, is it the state that, no, it's getting from the widget part, I think. So also here we do the same thing. We would add this final value from that material tab size. Yes, I know a river pod, but yes, I can do a tutorial and I want to do it. It's already planned. But if you want to have it in the meantime, you can go to the Flutter channel, Fun with Flutter, I think. I posted that yesterday on Twitter, and it was a fantastic tutorial that covered nearly everything that you should need for it. So, and because we added this final value field here, you can see that the constructor outline button is also getting red. So what we will do is adding the same thing here. And now it's getting interested because I don't know if this one has a default parameter. For that, I go to the raised button and check out how they do it in their constructor. And as you can see, there is no default parameter, so we can just keep it empty. Fantastic. So our constructor is working. Do we have to assert it? That's the next thing that is important, I think. So we have there a lot of assertions, but nothing with that material tab target size. Okay. You can see I'm currently working, if you check out my Git, I'm still working on the directly on the master channel. And this is a bad pattern and also not wished by the Flutter team. So what I will do is creating a new branch, /issue, and the issue number is 6165. So create. I did not read enough from the tree hygiene and so on to see if the branch name is important for the Flutter project. So what I will do is I will check other pull requests that we have in the Flutter package and just check from which branches they coming in, if they have specific names. So they use also their name and after that what they are working on. So because I don't know if this is for everyone the case, but I think it is a good pattern. Okay, he calls it patch 1. So the branch name should not be interesting here, I think. While patch 1 is not too bad. So what do we have else? Reland something. Okay, this is a revert part. Roll engine, do not cache item builder calls grid. Okay. Grid memory widget. Okay, so maybe we can rename that one once more and give it more a name, what we are working on. And this would be the outline button. And what is the parameter name that we add? Material something. Material tab target size. This is especially helpful if you give that a good name if you are working on different issues. So I would highly recommend that. With that username in front of it with a slash, I do that just if you are using like a tool like source tree or a visual tree or something like that, you will get these nice little folder structures down there. So you have your name, after that you find all your issues. That helps you if you work, for example, with a teammate who also has created already some branches and you want to help him in the branch, then you can check it out under his username and get this nice folder structure inside of these tools. Okay, so we added this one. We have checked if the assert is working. That's fine. We get still an error here, which is fine, I think. So what is the problem here? The argument type dynamic can't be assigned to parameter type material tab target size. Okay, so where is this coming from? Dynamic. That means if we jump into the raised button. Ah, yeah, thank you. Fantastic. That was an easy fix. Okay, fantastic. So now we have that in place. And it seems already greenish from my side, but we have there a different error here somewhere. So if we take there a look, I think that has nothing to do with our problem here. Okay, that's all right. Or? Yeah, no, I think that's okay. Let's have to get dependencies running. But now, when we are this far, we have read seconds ago that we have to test everything that we do, right? So now this outline button, did it work for every outline button? Should we add that also for the icon is the question. I'm not sure about that. So if we use the outline button, that should work now. Do we need it also for the icon? Yeah, so also for the outline icon. So let's check that, how it works with that icon part. And pass it to the super, you say. Okay, let's have a look. How does the, I just want to see how the icon part is working. So this is the constructor for it. We run all that stuff inside and we get the icon and label. And we get the outline button with icon, which is the object then for it. And I just want to take a look how there, if this is different build with a different build function here. So I will go inside and have a look. And this one uses that already. So let's have a look. What do I see? This is stateful widget, fine. But what is wrong with this part here? Outline button with icon. Material button with icon mix-in. Okay, there's nothing special with that. And it extends this, yeah, and then we extend the super. Okay, perfect, that makes sense. Okay, so you can see in the outline button with icon, we get also all of these parameters. And what we want to do is pass the information from that into our parent here. Because as you see, we call super, and super is calling the constructor of outline button. And what does it mean is that we have child autofocus, and I think on here, that part, there should be the possibility of the super constructor to add outline button. Okay, that looks different. Why is it not working? Ah, I did not add that already. So maybe I should do that first, I think. So outline with button, but we have to go to the constructor of outline button. And what I want to do is searching for the constructor of that. So also here we did not add that yet. So to that constructor here. Outline button with icon, that's fine. Where did we add the value yet? It's just the basic outline button constructor. Okay. And where do we find the outline button itself? No. Yeah, this one. And I think this one did not add the new value yet. So we have here the material tab, target size. Comma, yep. So this should be it. Why is it yellow? Avoid defining unused parameters in the constructor. Ah, yeah, sure. So, and what we will do is we call the super of outline button, which is a material button. And now we hope that the material button will receive that material tab target size. Fantastic. So we go back to the outline button and we pass down the material tab target size to the super. So I hope, what was the number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After, before the animation duration. So animation duration is not part of it, so I will do it and add it here. On the other hand, I think I can also just add target size and pass it down. Fine. So now everyone else should be, and what I could do is to easily find that part, I could make that. No, I will not work like that, unfortunately. Okay, so I will search for this constructor here. And you see it's quite a lot of them. But what I hope is actually to find all the different supers here. This is just one here. No, this is not what I searched for. We have the material tab size here. Fine. How we create it. And we have here the outline state, we have the outline border state. Okay, so but where is the icon part? Debug fill properties. I think we don't have to add it here. Outline button with icon needs also the information. So what I will do is add that here too. Correct, this is calling here the icon. And what we want to do is add that here too. So material tab target size. And now this part will receive the same thing. So we don't use that here, but in our super, which is our outline button, we can now specify the material tab target size. And now we want to add that here. No suggestions. All right, so up. I think we can take that one and put the same thing inside. Voila. Oh, fantastic. So that works. We get that now down. We push it into the super class. That's fine. We add it here, coming from the outline button with icon. Fantastic. And we put it here in that constructor. So the icon should behave now exactly the same like the first one. That's a good question. No, I don't think so. I just use Command-Shift-F, but I will do that at the end that I run Dart-FMT once more. I don't know if it runs automatically Dart-FMT, but I don't think so. Don't run? Why not? Is it bad? Because I think I have changed now quite a lot with my arrangement, so I thought, they don't use it. Okay, so what is using IntelliJ as a default value? What are they using to clean up the repository? Is there any plugin or anything like a editor style? Because we have the code editing here, and what do we have else? I thought there's like code styling. Exactly, we can search for Dart, and it uses currently the default IDE. They use style using hands. Okay. So most likely I will have to search that inside of the repository, and I really hope that I find there something how I can clean up that again, or test coverage is for sure, we will work on that. Tree hygiene, so get your code reviewed, okay, but before I do that, here, Clang format, but this is for C, or create a branch of master, maybe it is part of the style guide. So I open that one. Write test, find bug, avoid duplicate state, no synchronous slow work, layers, avoid exposing. Logging compatibility workaround, documentation Dart docs, okay, that is documentation, coding patterns and catching bugs, use asserts, prefer specialized functions, alright, naming, formatting, here, there. These guidelines have no technical effect, but they are still important. Purely consistency, readability. We do not use Dart-FMT. All right, so the first words. Thank you for pointing that out. I think that would get some problems in the PR when I push that up, because a lot of things would have changed. That hand formatting entails. So Flutter code tends to use patterns that standard Dart formatter does not handle well. We are working with Dart team to make Dart-FMT aware of these patterns, in defense of extra work that hand formatting entails. Flutter code might eventually be read by hundreds and thousands of people each day. Code that is easier to read and understand saves people time. Okay, constructors first, order. Okay. So now the question is, do I have to set that up? Because I think the IDE settings are in place, right? I override the IntelliJ things. So what I will check is, yeah, you can see if we go to the Dart, there is a code. Code is formatting using .fmt. Jeez, that's bad. Okay, this is exactly what we don't want, I expect. So now the question is if I have to revert all the changes just to get rid of that stuff. Because what I can imagine is that the changes are quite extensive now. This looks different. How can I... new change list, is it that? No, I want to see, is it this one? Yeah. So what has changed here? Yeah, but you would see the difference? What do you mean? Would it be way hard? Well, what I can do is I could use the Dart FMT and execute it, and after that, if it changed a lot, it's good. But the problem that I see is that the whole part here is getting overwritten, but it seems that there is a new white space in front of these dots, columns. But it seems nothing else has been changed, right? But this one has line break now. Which is good, I think. I thought it's line 80, or if I've read that correctly. So I think this is correct. There are spaces, green parts show that. Something like that here. Alright. No worries, trending, all good. You didn't miss anything, just the usual. Okay, but that means we have done some changes with the Dart FMT, I think, right? So can I deactivate that for here? Copy, duplicate, import scheme. Or do I have to deactivate Dart FMT? So that, yeah. Where can I see what happens? I think the line breaks is now a pretty big topic. Yeah, you see it. Okay, so this is our very big first mistake, I think. So let's see if I find something that we can use, or is it really just done by hand, everything? Opening punctuation, match it, and closing and vice versa. So bad, good. Okay, one line, that makes sense. This here, okay, so we don't add the last, no, we add the last one. The question, how can I deactivate Dart FMT from IntelliJ? Dart FMT. No, this is something else. Remove all Dart code style settings that are not supported by, well, this means... Yeah, the problem is my standard behavior is that I execute Command-Shift-L, which is like the key map, I think. If I press that here, searching for it, Command-Shift-L. Oh. Okay, maybe I'm lucky. But as you said, you think that regarding or thanks to the line breaks that we have here on the side, it most likely has created its own. I think something like that here is most likely wrong. What I will do, and I'm a bit sorry for that, I will roll back the whole thing just in case. And what I will do now is I will deactivate all that stuff. Hopefully I can do that even. So can I deactivate that? I'm just afraid that it does it on save, but no, save doesn't do anything. Okay, fantastic. Good, okay, so second try. Let's see if we can fix it this time. And I will try to not convert, because if I press now Command-Shift-L, oh no, it doesn't do anything. Maybe if I keep it. So what would that mean by hand? That would mean that if I add this stuff, for example, and add a comma, and if I would run now, yeah. Okay, so if I'm pressing Option and Command, then it tries to do that. So what I will do is I will go to the key map, and now I search for these. Here, this is reformat code, and I think with that I override currently my stuff. Then what I will do here is I will remove that. Just that I will not execute this element anymore. And now I can do it really by hand and just add it with a tab. Fantastic. But still I have to unfortunately redo everything. So let's revert. And roll back. Fantastic. And now let's jump right into it again. Oh, that's no worries. It was my mistake, right? I told you multiple times that I really should read the whole contribution. But I somehow am a bit lazy, and with that I should run into these errors. So that is perfectly fine. Completely my fault. So no worries. I think some of you gave me these pluses, huh? Thank you. No, fantastic. Then I can start with that. And I want to solve something, and I think it's a perfect thing for this 2-hour session if I can really solve something, because that would be our first PR that we create, and I would be proud, to be honest. But let's see. We have the outline button. We wanted to take a look when the outline button comes into the raised button part. So density, example codes, we don't need all of that. We have here the super call. In the super call, we call the outline button. So somewhere needs to be a build function, I hope. Here we go. And the build function calls the outline button, which then contains all that stuff. And here we actually need our variable. So let's see if I find that in my paste part. No. Use content to paste. Okay, so we take this one, material target, and we add that once more. And I think now a constructor should get read, hopefully. Yeah, here we go. And what I can do is add that automatically. I think this will be wrong. Cool. Cool, we have that. This is in place. This works. And now our outline button is here. So, next step, one level higher. That means if I'm searching for this part, create state, that's fine. Did update, fine. We have this with the icon, and also the icon needs that element. We are here, we add this part, removing the final, getting rid of that, and here we go. But now this complains, that's fine, because also here we have to provide this material tab target size. Jump into it, add that as value, and use it in our super constructor. That is that here, which is the outline button. Perfect. So let's add that again. Voila. Yeah, sure. Cool. Feels a bit weird to make these tabs from time to time. So now it can't be constructed. That's a bit weird. Why not? The outline button should have that value already. But it does not. Okay. So we will have here this part. And provide it to our super function, which is then our material button. So what I will do is adding that here. Part. Once more. It feels so wrong to align the stuff with spaces and with tabs. So yeah, I don't know. It's so yeah, foreign for me, because in the most of the projects we configure all that stuff like Dart FMT and be very proud of it, that everything is formatting well. But hopefully there will be a new solution for that. Okay, outline button, this is working, we have that in place. So this is part of it, we have that in place, fantastic. How does this look? Runs, and save. Okay, but this would mean every project that is using this Flutter part, and we would use an outline button, should be able now to override this variable. The question that I have additionally is if all of these things are documented. So that means if I'm searching here for autofocus, will I find something inside of this documentation here? No. Is it in raised button documented? Raised button, color, gradient, okay. Disable on long press, okay. So how would it be if I'm searching for the material tab target size in our browser with Flutter? Will I get, yeah, I get a Flutter API, so it is an enum and there the documentation takes place. And it's part of the outline button. Fantastic. So I don't have to write documentation. And why is that important? Well, the documentation in Flutter is freaking good. And if you make their mistakes, I think that would be not my favorite dream. Okay, but now the most important part, because we have read already some of the triage or some of the documentation of the contribution, is that we have to provide also tests for it. And what I saw already earlier is for the outline button, there is also an outline button test. So, and now it's getting interesting, because now we have to read the tests carefully. What happens here actually? So the outline test default, find descendant, find of type on. Okay, so we have a finder which is used by the widget tests, I think, to identify a raw button material somewhere in the descendants. Okay, so we pump a widget, that's fine. This is just preparation, I think. Is there anything? So this is a test widget. This is the whole test here. Okay, and what is happening here? We have the widget that is pumped, and as you can see, we create an outline button with a child of a text. So when nothing is provided, what are the values that are set? So, and these are the default values from the Flutter team, which are set. And this is the const color, all right, the font, okay. No change versus enabled and not pressed, right? Hi sir, successful your code after how Flutter update in Flutter documents. Successful your code? How Flutter update in Flutter documents? Not sure what you mean, Akash. Can I? Sorry. Tester pump widget directionally. Okay, here's like a text direction check. So if the text is changing depending on how it should be, if this is from left to right or right to left. So does Outline button work with hover? No, this is not the question. Outline button change mouse cursor when hovered. Okay. This is also not the part that we want to have. Oh, a good part that I could do is just run all the tests. So, and I just right click on them and run does outline. Now I just run the one test, but even better would be if I run all the tests. It's not selected in a group. Oh, that's unlucky. So hopefully I can just run the whole file here. And now we come to another very positive part of Flutter. The tests are running so fast. Look at that. All of the tests took like 1 second and 700 milliseconds. I'm coming from an Angular framework thing, and we worked with Karma, and we had like crazy times of working with them. Then I opened it a bit up, and what we can see down here, I hope you can see that too. Yep. So we have a lot of these testings. Should I make that a bit bigger, or can you read well? And all of the different parts has now a different test. And what I will do is, because I am not such an experienced one inside of the Flutter repository, it would be a bad idea to just create a test and thought it would be good enough. So what I will do is I go to the raised button test, and what I will search is I will search that tab property that we created. And you see here is already a test widget. Raised button size is configurable by theme data material target tab. Hey Mio, nice to see you around. Hope you're well. And what we can see, there are some tests regarding to padded and shrink wrap. And actually what we could do is to just copy these tests and bring them into the outline button. But before I do that, I want to double check if the flat button test has the same, because actually they behave the same, so they should have the same. And as you can see, this exact same test is here with the flat button. That means it would be very bad for me to create a new test if there is already something that works, right? So never change a running system in that case. The only thing that we actually have to do, and I hope this is not running into copyright problems, is to copy these tests here. So I will copy that test widget here with the flat button, and I will copy this part here. So we have the padded one and the, where's the other one? Down here with the shrink wrap. Okay, so I will take that. Or is it just one test? Okay, this is just one test, which makes that whole thing even easier. So I will run the tests once more just to see if everything is working well. And now let's check. Yeah, so this is exactly this one test that we want to have. Because I work with IntelliJ, I can now use the selection increasement to just select that one test. How this works? Well, with Option up and down on a Mac, you can just select more and less. On a Windows machine, that would be Control W. So I select the test, and I'm going here. And actually, where have the tests been? Is there a configure? It was before the on-pressed callbacks are correctly. Okay. Response intensity. Okay. On-pressed, on long pressed. Okay. So it would be in front of this test here. So I add that here. I have the tests now running, but be mindful, we have to change everywhere the outline button, right? So outline, outline button. And you see we have inside of this pumped widget. So what happens is the testing framework from Flutter pumps a widget into its specific testing widget tree. And the fantastic part of that is because we have the finder on top that we have seen, it checks now all the parts here inside. And I think here you get the, we call the tester. So in that case, where we pumped our widget into, and we search for the size of the whole thing. And we believe that this size is that part. Same thing for this. And now if this is true and everything works well, this test should be running fine. If not, we have to do something. But we should reduce our own work as much as possible. And if we have that possibility with that test, I think it is absolutely valid to use it. Cool. So now all of that is done. We have these two information. Actually, only the y-axis from the size should change. So that's fantastic. What I will do next is just run the tests of this outline button once more. Look at that. The test is green. We really managed to solve the problem, and I can't believe that this could be my first merge into the Flutter PR. Now it's getting even more nervous because this is stuff that is pretty impressive. Do you think we have to test more, or do you think that test should be fine? Because it is just that one parameter, and I think it is just changing the sizes. I think that should be fine to figure out. Okay, this is something else, but let's stick with my outline button here. Cool. So we have that in place, we have these parts. And the good thing is, even though if I make a mistake for that, so even if this test would be not valid enough and we all would not see that now, outline icon should be tested too. That's a good point. Well done. Thank you for that. So the good thing is we have that. And what we can do is we can write the test for the whole thing. And I think what we have to test is just taking one of these pumpers, and I think also that part. The question is, should we create an own test for that? Because I think this one is already pretty big, right? It has already a lot of stuff. On the other side, do we have own tests for the icons? So what I will do is I check if we find, here we have the icon, changes mouse cursor when hovered. So this has the icon part. Outline button uses stateful. So currently there is no own test for that. So what I will do is I will add that to our test that we already have in place. Just because because currently there has never been an own specific test just for the icon. So I will add that to this part here. So we add this tester pump widget. And I think we can use the same key, or, oh no, we have to create a new key for it. Okay, fantastic. So down here we create our tester. And as you can see, we use this key part that we pass into it to create an own existent widget in the widget tree that we test through. So we are not coming into problems with one or the other widget in the test right now. So we create our own key. We call that here key free. And we have here the outline icon. And this child, I think the icon will only contain out of an icon. Dot test. Is there a test icon? No. Just to a point, the test you added uses theme data. Ah, is it like that? Okay. That's good to know. Then, interesting. That's a good point. Thank you for that first. And now what I will do is, because we know that, I want to jump into the comment here. And what I will do is I check this PR, because that would mean if we, there should be a test for that, right? Somewhere. And it's just for the outline button, this one here. Okay, so that has nothing to do with it. Okay, that's fair. That would mean, do we then actually need that test here in that place? Because this would not be that what we changed, right? So, configurable theme data. So what you want to, or what we have to test is by passing something inside, like the material tab size, and then we would have the material tab target size dot padded. Something like that. And actually, if we would remove that theme data, it shouldn't change a thing, right? It would be the same thing. Yes, exactly. Fantastic. We're on the same side from that. I think I can even remove the theme here. I don't need a theme. Do we need the directional? I doubt it. I think it can be a material with a center. And I'm not even sure if we need the center here. but I don't think that should be the problem. Why I'm doing this, and I remove as much as I can, just because I think the widget tree should be as clean. You need it? I need the direction and the theme? Okay, that's... But why do I need a theme? Ah, okay. Only the direction. But, really? So, okay. What is the material target size in the first place? Configures the tab target and layout size of certain material widgets. Changing value in will affect the accessibility experience. Some of the impacted widget includes outline. Ah, all right. Okay, cool. Thank you. So that means the directionality is important and is necessary because we don't have a material app widget surrounding the whole thing. And with that, it wouldn't work. But now with that in place, it works, and that's fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. That would, on the other hand, the test would break, I think, in the worst case. So we would have found that pretty early. Okay, and also here the online button, we will do the exact same thing. We will pass down the material tab size target and add shrink wrap. Is it correct? Yeah, padded and shrink wrap. Cool. It's pretty cool to work with you together on these problems. I think that solves for me also some problems because with that I'm very easier to get into the whole topic. Great, but that would lead also to the other part where we have to add more or less the same two tests once more for the icon. And the good thing is we get now the errors, so key 3 and key 4. Unique key, directional, that's fine. This would be key 3. And we would do the same thing, but for the icon. So, we have here a child, that would not be possible. But what I want to do is searching for the other icon part that we have and use exactly the same icon and label. Do we need the... Yeah, I think I take these two. So that should make it easier to work with. Oh. Then here we have also the same part. We say icon, take the key 4, remove the children, replace it by the other two. Now, what could be going wrong is that the size has changed here in that place. At least I could imagine. But we will see that in a second. And then we can change the test accordingly. So we run the test again, and we get a red error. That's fantastic. And now we can read what happens. So we expected that the size would be 36, but it was 48. So that is interesting. Do we get an info where exactly that happened? I think so. Okay, outline button in line 1083. Okay, so the problem is, of course, that I made a copy-paste. Oh, not necessarily. Yes. What do you need? Ah, okay. All right, so we get here the size 36, but it actually did not change the value, it seems. Is that right? We have padded and shrink wrapped. But what I also have to change, what I see right now, is that I have here the wrong keys still in place, so careful with that. Not that we search for the different parts. I just want to rerun the test once more. Okay, but still the same error. That means somehow, and it's the key 2 actually, so this part is somewhat wrong. So it does not override the shrink wrap. Okay, that's good to know. we take that, we put that in place, we call the super with it. Material tab target size, okay. Where are you used in the material button? But there is material tab target size and theme material tab target size. Okay. So if the material tab target size is not set, so null, then we use the theme one, which is perfectly fine. So that sounds reasonable. Now the question is why the test is not right. We have a size box with a width of 50 and a height of 8. Did I use the wrong padding? How was it in the beginning? No, down here, I think when I added that stuff. That was padded and that was shrink wrap. No, this sounds right. Okay, so what I will do is I will remove the bottom two tests once more, and I'll keep them in my paste history. And because I know it's only this test who is failing at the moment, I can just run that once more. And before we do it with debugging, I want to test it once more. So the size should be 36, but actually it was 48. It did not change anything. Brings the tab target size to a minimum provided by the material specification. Right, that sounds correct. This is button theme, okay. We are currently in a material button. Tab target size, okay. So what we could do is we get the tester find by key, and I think this find by key returns me the finder. Tester get size. Can I get the widget? Okay, now we have to search more in the testing. So I go here, that would be pub.dev, Flutter test. Flutter test, and I think we get here this testing for Flutter. I can get the widget, yes, and I just want to know how exactly I get to find widgets. Find the text widget. Text widget expect find text and then finds one widget. So, and with that I find one widget. I just want to get the widget to test if the valid value is set. Tester find XX with return a widget. Ah, is it like that? Okay, so test find tester.find first element with first widget where find.byKey. Now I pass down the key to inside. And what I want to achieve with that, and I just make a print of something, so just equals. I will not keep that here, it's just for me, and that's why, and I add a breakpoint here. So what I will do is execute the test in debug mode. You should set silent, okay. Here we go. And as you can see, we jump now right in that option here. And I will jump over that so that we get inside of my variable test the information. And you can see we have now the outline button in place. And we can take a look into it. And the great thing about Flutter is that we see all the properties that we passed into it. And hopefully we'll find our target size, which is shrink web. So now the question is it behaving differently? Is the outline button behave differently to the flat button and or other buttons? So, and it seems that we assume that from the flat button, right? So if I'm jumping once more into the raised button, for example, and raised button test, and I'm searching for that, here it is like 48 and 36. And most likely our outline button should behave the same, right? At least this would be what I expect. How can we test that now correctly? So we set the value, but something is wrong that it doesn't take the right value. Material tab. We pass it into the super, which is fair enough. Can I check inside? Can I go deeper? That would be interesting. Border, this line. Yeah, I think the same. The question is now just how can I identify if the element underneath, so the raised button, for example, no, is it the raw material button from the raised button that the outline is using? Ah, wait, maybe I forgot to pass that down. But I can. So that would be find first widget with by key, or that would be like in the first part, right? Description, evaluate, hash. What do we get here first? Skip all candidates. No, that makes no sense. So at the moment we get the key 2, but we would like in the first. I always forget how mighty the testing framework is from Flutter. So find by type, and you say if I'm searching for raised button, for example, which is the child, we should get an element here. So I break my debug and restart it. True, okay. So, and jump over it, getting my test, and we have that raised button actually. Perfect. Thank you. You see, I don't test so much. So, oh, and the material tab target size is null. But did I get now the right one? Can I be sure with that? So the shape is an outline border, so this would guess that it is right. So this means our material tab target size is not passed down, it is null actually. Fantastic, that is exactly what we want. So at least this is what we want to see. So this part, even though it is getting passed down into the super, which is a material button, right? Because we call outline button and extend it from the material button. Somehow it's not getting passed down. Hey coding guy, nice to see you around. And we have now the material tab, we go into super. What I will do now is maybe a bit dirty, but I'm not sure about it. So we have the raw material button and we receive the material tab size. And could you do a video for uploading a Flutter app to iOS App Store or test flight in the future? Yes, I think MATLAB will do that because we have like a very strict separation there, and MATLAB is completely responsible for all the iOS related topics. But maybe we will do that in the future. At least I hope. Wait, did I maybe... Did we not access somewhere the widget one where I made the mistake beforehand? Maybe I did the same problem again. That? There is a lot of style guides inside of the Flutter dev, I think, how you can reduce the package size. So Flutter app size reduction, I think you will find there a lot. And there is, like, for example, this topic here, so just search for it. I think you will come to a lot of different parts here. Yeah, but I can't help you there so much at the moment, sorry. Okay, back to our problem. So we have our outline button, we have material button, and somehow we don't pass it down inside of the parts where we want to use it. So what I will check once more is the outline button, the private constructor that we have here. And here we have... Oh! So I think that is the problem, right? Because we don't set that part. Here we go. Do we have access to it? Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So, and now if this is the part, then I most certainly don't have the icon either. So with icon was it? Yeah. So we search here inside with icon and find this part where we added the material target size. That's fine. And also here we added that. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's it. Did I miss something? Where's the... Did we have to add somewhere the final parameter for that? Final border side, okay. Properties, we add all that stuff. Do you hold this? I think we have also to add it here. We did that. Okay. Cool. I had in mind that we did somewhere the widget dot and gave the name of that part, but I think that should do the trick now. That was the mistake, I think. If we run the whole thing in the debug and just go further with it and restart. Make it big. Up. Let it run just to see. No, we still get an exception here. I'm working currently on the Flutter GitHub project itself. So I tried to solve an issue that Ayush was so friendly to give me. And I can show you that one shortly. That is here, update outline button have been done. And there was a new issue that the material tab target size is not passing into the constructor correctly of the outline button. And I asked if I can take that issue, and now we try to solve that together. Okay, so, and the problem that we are running into right now is that I made a mistake, or I changed the constructor of the outline button correctly, or I changed it, and now the test is running wrong because it doesn't set the value actually. And I'm pretty sure that I missed somewhere where I set the value of the outline button. And as you can see, it doesn't change the size accordingly. And we checked already with the debugger at the moment, and we found that we don't set the value of the material button correct. And what I think is that we have to pass down the widget somewhere. There needs to be the outline button where we have all the final parameters where we set the widget dot something. And I forgot that somewhere. I did that the last time, but there we had the problem. So here we have the raised button, and I think here it is. So we have the build function where we have the animated builder and the raised button, and we forgot, we added that to the widget parameters, but we forgot to pass that down. I think that is the problem. So material tab is widget dot material tab target size, and with that it should be gone. And check if there is something else. No, but I think this will be solving the issue here. So what I do is running again the whole thing. And with a bit of luck, Or I think we don't really need luck, because I think that was the problem. Fantastic. So that solved the issue. I just forgot to pass down in the build function of the outline button, which creates an animated builder and erase button. I forgot to pass down the material target size. And good. So now we have that in place. We can close off all the others, all unmodified. So fantastic, to keep the structure a bit cleaner. Okay, so now we have that in place. We have that set inside. Now we tested the whole thing. Now we wanted to write two tests that also tests the constructor of the icon. I'm searching again for my material target size here and copy, remove these parts because they are working now, so we don't have to debug anymore. And I have to copy, or I can copy the whole part here. So, and add that down here. And what I will do now is I press here enter and changing key to key 3 and here key to key 4. And with that, we have to change here the icon. We have to change the key here to key 3. And instead of this, we are using the icon and label from the top. Fantastic. Key 4. We can remove this, replacing it by that. This is the same. And here we have to give the icon constructor. Good. So, it could be that the sizes has changed here and now both will fail. That could be. But we have to test that quickly, and it would be fantastic if the tests are running through. Yeah, no, the sizes has changed. No element. Ooh. Iterable constructor. Widget controller gets size controller. So inside of the test there was a mistake happening. Interesting. Bad statement, no element, okay. That is in line 1103. 1103. Tester gets size, find by key, key 1. Did I not change the key? Ah, yeah, sure. Thank you. Okay. Looks good. And now I want to rerun the whole thing. Don't I have a button for rerun? Ah, I have. Fantastic. Okay, so as you can see, the size of the button itself is a bit bigger for the first one, which I can understand, and I think it is also correct. The actual one is bigger, okay. Where I am? Okay. But for us, this means that the sizes here has to be changed accordingly, and this is not key 4. Yeah. Let's run this test once more. Cool. Okay, so with the icon, it seems that the size is in general a bit bigger on 130. And this could be, I think, expected 88 and is now 130. One 1103. Okay, 1103. Okay. So now the question is this correct that the size has changed? And I think so, but because we have now the label with hello and with the icon add, so it could be that it is more width, it has a bigger width. And it would make sense, I think. So I will change that here, and I also will change that here, because it is bigger than a sized box, right? And what I will do is rerun our test. And we have fixed it. Okay. Yeah, so now I'm excited because the next part that is going on is that we have to push the whole thing, and now a lot of teams have standard commit messages, so they want to have that very lean and very correct, so I want to do the same. Hey there, thanks for your subscription, Harshalpoulos. So, and in order to find that, I think that will be in the style guide. So I was happy with the formatting. Catch bugs, avoid if chains, that makes sense. Avoid var. I hope we didn't use var somewhere. I don't think so. That was a very nice issue. Thank you, Ayush, for giving me that one. Conventions, expectations around potential crashes in engine. Don't have to do that, but what I search is commit messages. Do we find something? Commit. Where's my commit? Manual engine. No, that's not what I mean. Not a good way to test? Okay, why not? What would you test rather? We could... I can understand why, because we don't check against the element. What we could maybe do is just expect that the tester.get widget find hard-coded values for icon. You mean the values here inside, or what do you mean? So you would change the icon dynamically, so like a random icon, and then a random text for it, and then check against it? But I thought important is more the height of the element and less the width, or? For this part. Yes, that is true. Material tab target size adds 48 to 48. Okay. But how could we do that? We could create a placeholder that is very small. So you can add 48, 48 if you know the default size. Is that not the same problem like above here? I think we could also change that then, right? What is the default size of the outline button? Do we have here a size? That would be underlined outline button. So what do we find here? I like the idea to make it more stable, so that's why I'm following along. So 88 to 36 is the standard size. That's why they just use a size box for the whole thing, right? So what I could do is, instead of writing the text hello, what I could imagine if I use the size box, that we automatically run into the same benefit. So let's see. And if this is not the case, I should maybe reduce the size here. And that's why the height is 8. That makes so much sense. Okay, I understand. So that would mean if I maybe also decrease the size of the icon to, let's say, 2. I don't know if this is a good example, but if we reduce the size as big as possible, we would get like a very small thin line. At least this is what I imagine at the moment. And it would increase to 36 thanks to the material tab target size. And that would mean that this one is 88 in that case, right? And also here we would stick with 88. You also need to care about the icon. If you go in outline icon, it uses row where you can do some calculations. Okay, let's check. So if I'm looking for the icon and yep, outline icon with icon, fantastic. Where's our build function? Outline button state. So here's my icon, fantastic. We created it, extends from outline button and material icon with mixin. Below the super. So size box of 8. The row, main axis alignment min. Yeah, exactly. So the icon will be passed into a size box of 8 with the label. So it would be 8 and increase to 48, right? So no matter how small the icon would be, we would have at least a width of 8. But the height would be changing depending on the icon. To get the size box. Okay, so you would suggest that we calculate the whole thing. Welcome Akash Ori, nice to see you around. So you can get the size of sizebox plus 8 plus icon size plus 48. So we would get the size box, not this size box that we have here from the label. You suggest to get the size box that we have inside of the icon. But don't they get both pushed inside of this icon? Okay, let me write that. Plus the icon size plus 48. So what I could get is the tester, how we did that, right? So I could get the widget. Was it first widget? I think so. Where I take find type. Okay. So you would not hard code the icon size here, you would just take the standard default icon size. I hope I understand everything correct. So get size, and then I would search for find.getWidget. Get widget, no. By type, I would search for the icon. And then I would get the size of that. So get size, this is get size. And this would be the const of size. And this would be adding the 48 to it, right? Or 36 in that case. There is a find by icon? Crazy. Fantastic, thank you. So and this would be, because that icon's add is most likely smaller, right? We would get the size of 36 to 36 in that case, or 48 to 48 in the other case. So in that part here. And now we should maybe use two different icons, because if I use add for both, we could come into some troubles there. So I will make add alarm up here. And then we have here 48 to 48. Or should we add that now? Should we make the calculation? Size of sized box plus 8. So the size of sized box plus 8 plus icon size plus 48. No worries, that's always like that. If I'm live coding and I get like chatting and everything, the problem is you stop thinking and you start to read and hope for answers, you know, and this is at the moment where I am at it. But what I think you mean is I have to add this sized box plus the icon width here, and then adding the spaces that there are inside of the outline box. So what I can do is, I don't have really to expect that stuff. It is more like we do the calculation based on that. So we get this icon and we get the size from it. No, we have the size from that. So we have here a width and a height. And this would be our icon's size. And I should not use var, it is a size. The next part is that we want to get the sized box that we have here in place, right? So we want to get the size of our sized box, which would get the get size again with the find by, and I don't know if I can search, nope. So in that kind it would be get by. I'm searching for type in that case, is a sized box. But here I see the problem again, that this sized box is not necessarily the sized box that we're searching for. Get size, find type. The problem is this could be more than one, right? You can skip for size box since you have put the values. So you mean because I added this information, I can skip that because I can calculate that immediately. So we take, all right. Okay, but this would mean this 88 here would change. So this is the width, right? So we would use the icons size dot width plus 8 plus whatever we have. So that would be the size box in the beginning. So the size box has a width of 50, right? I'm trying to write tests, Nico. So we are writing tests for the outline button, where we added the new value attribute of the shrink rep to the material tab target size. And because I don't want to make that hard-coded, so if the icon is changing, I want that the test is still passing. And the same thing if the, and so we have to calculate here a bit around. Correct, and 84. But do we really make a calculation here, or should I just add that as a fixed value? So like 48, that would be 98 plus 8 would be 106, I think. Oh, I'm not wrong. Yep. So we could remove this part and we would just have that part. And because it is a const, we could some errors here. Cool. And that's the same thing for the height, or is the height? Is that padded? Oh, okay, it's the wrong test here actually. Okay, so we take all that and bring it up. And you are right, this would be then, yeah, key free. So here's the size. We get the icon size from add alarm. This could be, wait, I'll keep it for now. Let me think. One more thing, I think if I don't add the size here, I should maybe create a variable for that part so that we can use it up here and down here. Is that a good solution? Not really, because this is just a value. Okay, so we have the, and this would be 106 for this part. Here it would be 48. And here it is just 36, so minus 12, which would be 104, 192. So, and this can't be icon size anymore, so add icon size. This will be here, and this name would be, And this would not be icon size, it would be why is it yellowish? Prefer final, okay, that's fine. This is possible, we do that. Okay, and now we have that expectation, we check the size, we can't make it const because it is, we can make it const actually, or I could use that here, create a new variable from that, it's an integer, or I think it's a double in that case. And I could just say something like t equal, no, I can't make it constants. Fantastic. So and this with the 88 would be just for the old value, right? That is if we have the text, so we can remove that part. And here, yeah, we make that final too. Okay, let's run the tests. And it's getting red, that's fine. So it should be bigger than it is actually, so 110. Which test is it actually? It is the 1104. So that part here is failing, so 106 seems not to be correct. What have I calculated? So we said we have, the idea is that we calculate this sized box, which has a width of 50, plus 8, because of the part that is coming from the outline icon box inside, plus the icon size, which is @arm icon size, plus the 48, which is part of the material padded part. And now what I will do now, because maybe my math is not good enough, I say 50 plus 8 plus 48, and then added that to the width. Okay, so let's hope the best. But it still feels wrong. I hope it's not getting boring for you guys. I know it's always a bit with testing, but it's also important. Why do we come to 130 and I don't come to the same number? This is way too close. If I'm jumping into the icon, and we have that part here, and we're coming into the super, and here we create the row. And the row is minimal, main axis alignment min. So we reduce the space as small as possible. Then we have the icon, which has a specific size. We calculate that already. The funny thing is the height seems to be correct, so that is fine. It's just the width that is wrong. We have here another width of 8. This is the sized box, and the label. The label currently is just a widget where we pushed a sized widget. So where does the rest coming from? So 8 plus 50 plus the icon size, whatever, plus 48. Highlight elevation, clip none. Has the row something inside that could increase the size? Not really, or? So I'm searching quickly for the build function because I assume I can see the fastest there what actually happens. Cool. No, 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 no. I don't think that the row has something to do with it. We have that centered. E3 is the outline button. But wait a second, if I... This can be gone for now. What I will do is exclude that quickly. I just want to see if the other one has also another result, the other test. So there it is, just 116. So we have a difference by 24. No, even more. 20... 44? 48? Oof, okay. Size to 48 to 48. This is default value of the theme data material hit test size and the recommended size to conform. I'm searching for it. There is a material widget surrounding the whole thing and the director now, but I don't think that they have a border or something, or? No. There is a padding, but none of them is defaulted, I think. So if I'm searching again for the build function of this one with the build context, what do we have here? Also, there will be some padding at left of icon and right of label. Okay, but if there isn't padding surrounding that, we should see that somewhere, or not? Well, I should find that somewhere. So if we have that super part and I go here into that row with the icon, we get a widget. So, so if we search for the size of that icon, we do not necessarily get the raised button. Yeah, I can do that. That would be here. Raised button. And here inside, do we have a padding? Get padding, padding. So this is the raised button with icon, which we get, right? We use most likely the same behavior. And also here we have a sized box surrounding it. But no, we use the default raised button for that. It's not the same. So we have here the raw material. And the padding is button theme get padding. Okay. Wait a second. We removed the theme, right? Yeah, but they don't have a theme either. Wait. If we check once more the flat button test, for example, we have this theme data here. Could that be that that's removes all, because it's not a copy with, it could be that it's completely new one, which does reduce all the padding surrounding it. Maybe that was the reason why they created a new one. What I want to try is if I use a theme here and pass down a theme data, just give a theme data that is completely empty. Maybe it's now... that was of course the wrong part where I want to have that. So let's see down here. Get that back. And we add surrounding this a theme where we get the data, theme data. And now let's execute the whole thing. So we get 100, no, doesn't change anything. Okay, so even the theme data is not working. It's So we get the alarm. Does the alarm itself has some, the icon itself has maybe heading or something? Build. So it takes the icon size, or it takes size or the icon theme size. Okay, but where is this internal padding? I can find it. So you mean if I'm searching for the docs of raised button? Raised button class, or in the outline button? Let's check. Raised buttons have a minimum size of 88. Okay, fair enough. And 36. Good. Do we have here anything about padding? No, not necessarily. And if we search for the outline button, 88, 36, that's fantastic. Disabled color, okay. Given the value of 0. And if I search for the raw material button, forward, inkwell, do we see here a padding? Edge inset 0. So this one is it not. And the raised button, let's see here also, padding. No, it doesn't use any default. And if we go to the outline button, outline button, and we search for padding, there is also no padding. Oh. How about the icon? No. We have this width and we have that size here. Okay, but interesting enough, the number is also pretty odd, right? It's 20. That would mean we have a padding of, or an edge inset of 10 somewhere, right? What I will do now is I want to check the deeper levels. Get outline, get highlighted elevation, get fill displayed. Maybe the outline border has something. Inner path? No, it's just taking the side. outline buttons. That's alright. The raised button and this one. It's using the raw material button. The raw material button checks for that. Alright. Let's see how this one is getting built. Edge inset only, widget padding, add density adjustments. Ah, look at that. Maybe this is the problem. But it clamps to edge inset 0. What means clamp? Returns a new object with all values greater than or equal to min and less to equal to max. Okay, so it needs to be between 0 and infinity. Fantastic. Interesting. So that means there is a density adjustment inside of that. So we get an offset, which is then based on the visual density base size adjustment. And it's like a 4. So it could be that on the left and the right side there is an additional, oh, it's times 4. Interesting. So maybe this is related to it. Can I add a visual density somewhere? Oh. Is there a default visual density? Okay, so I can try that. I can just surround the whole thing by theme. Not like that, but visual density. And this is a number, or no, it's an attribute. So visual density dot compact, or even minimum. Okay, let's stick with compact. It's interesting enough, I'm always hammering the option command and I want to have Dart FMT helping me. Luckily I removed that keyboard shortcut. Okay, but now that could help us maybe. I just want to test it first before I work more. So let's run that part. No, unfortunately not. The only thing that I managed is that I removed the another 8 pixel from the height, which actually should not be possible, right? Because the shrink wrap is always times 48 to 48. Maybe this is even an issue that I could create according to that. So compact is what? -2 each. Okay, but the visual density is also not the problem here. Okay, what I will do now is I will add the 20, as I am mean. The visual density minus, yeah, I can try that. Visual density, and it receives the per default 0, 0. So I will add that here, so like that. Okay, but now it works at least with the 48 to 48, but somehow this is a padding with 10 pixels or something, somewhere around. I'm pretty sure with that. But it has nothing to do with the visual density. Unfortunate. Okay, so my assumption was wrong, it seems. So raw material button. Has a build function somewhere? If I make here a breakpoint, do you think I can run the test and receive the breakpoint here? So to just see if this have something to do with it. Yeah, I can. Perfect. So this is 0, 0. So that's good. 0, 0. 0, 0. Okay. So this widget padding. Oh, look at that. Somehow this widget padding gets an extra 16 paddings to the left and to the right. So this is already set. So where do we set that? This should be in button. Button? Padding edge inset 0. Visual density, box constraints, min height, min width, min height. That's fantastic. But why 16? How would 16 help us with the 10 pixels that we are missing? That is so confusing. In the material one, right? So I can't set that. So you think here is a padding of 16? Shadow color, so inside of that material. Search for build again. Contents child. In the button theme data. In material there will be a button theme data. Material, button, theme, theme. Getting the theme data of context. Okay, so not in the material, so in the theme data, so I can write here theme. And what I will do now is I add here data, theme data. And there is a button theme. Alright. Button theme data. And here's a padding which I put now to 0. Oh. So padding is edge inset, not 0. And this can be const most likely. Okay. Can I not just use 0? I add only. I will do that for now. Yeah, you're right. Just in case. Okay. And now let's see if I can rerun. I think I can remove the breakpoint that I had somewhere. I just run that like this. Still not. Okay. What I will do now, and I think I will be mean and add these 20, even though I don't know where they come from. So, up. That's an interesting part. I really don't know. So we have this width from that icon, which can be anything, and these parts are getting 70, 78, and let's run the calculator up. Plus 8, plus 48, plus 26. Okay. But I think they will not be major breaking changes. If this is changing somewhere... So confusing. I would love to see... The only problem that I have with that is that we would now add this, and because we don't know where it comes from, it could change in the future somewhere. But I really don't have a clue where I should show. Size width. Position and directional, no, I don't think so. That has nothing to do with it. No idea. If you find something or if you have a clue, just add it to the PR. I think that would be fantastic. I'm thinking about to write a comment where the 126 coming from. Just for the next one who's working here. I don't know, do we do that actually in testing? Default value, yeah. So I will add also some comments here. Yeah, I think I will submit a PR and will ask the question there, because I think that makes a lot of sense to identify where it comes from. So I'm not sure if I should add the comment here also, just that everyone is aware what the calculation is about. Or do you think everyone will understand where this 126 comes from? Sounds like a magical number somehow. The 88 makes a lot of sense because I think the 88 is the default value, right? So, okay. And I think here I have to line wrap the whole thing. Okay, so up. The expected size with consists out of the size box width, or the width of size box, then yeah, the icon width, and the internal sized box. The width of the size box is 50. The icon width is down there, so it is fixed. The internal size box with it, which is 8, right? And we had another 8 that I forgot somewhere. So we find inside of the outline icon and the icon. We have that with the width of 8 and the label width. No, that is that part. No, that's correct, right? So where comes the last 8 from? So we had the sized box and the 48 of the 48. calculate. Fantastic. And I will make that as an internal comment so nobody else will, so it will not be exposed as any documentation or anything. I think that's fine. And I would bring that also down to that one, because it will most likely behave nearly the same, right? So we have the 50 and we have here not 36, we have not 48, we have 36. And the 20 that we have, so it would be... But also this is interesting, if we have not a smaller one, they had a different problem, if I keep that in mind, right? We should have here a 130, and now it's 150? No, the actual is 110. And 48, but it should be 36 or not? We expect too much. 1109. Where is 1109? It is this test. So we have now 126, but it should actually be 110. I read always this one wrong. So it is way too big. Okay, let me check something. We have 50 plus 8 plus... What is wrong with me? Come on, see. So 50 plus 8 plus 48. We are at 106. And the width is most likely 20, maybe? No, but it should be only 4. Wait. So, we expect 130. That means we have additionally 130. This. So we have we expect 130. This is 24 too much. So we have here on that one 24 too much. So one of them is wrong. The size of the box is 50, that's correct. We have an internal size of 8, which is also correct. 48. Yes, I can do that. You figured it out? Okay, so... So now we have 108. No, this is what we expect, this is not the right. We have now 88. So the icon is pretty big. No, the icon get a... So we have that size here, and that size is... So if we set the size of the... When button is material button width, icon mix in, padding left is 12 and right is 16. Wow. Okay, so if I'm searching for the outline and we have this mix in, the type of material button is created, blah blah blah. This mixin is only exists to give you the label and icon button widgets a distinct type of the sake of button theme. Okay. I can go up. If button is okay. Ah. Okay, that's mean, or this is really mean. Okay, but we have that now, and now we have this consistent. That means we have here start 12 and end 16. Edge only. What is start and end? Never used that. The offset from the start side. Okay, that means on the left side we have 12 and behind we have 16, which leads to 28. Is that correct? Yep, that's true. And 28 plus 88. But still, why is that now, if the size is 2, why is it now completely different again? Because now we have the actual size of 88, right? So if we... Just to add that here, so instead of this magical number, we have now the 106. Yeah, that's what I thought, but the size is actually 88, which is the minimum constraint. And because the icon itself is now 2, and we have 12 in front and 16 behind, we have 82, 30. And because it is smaller from the size than the constraints that we have, actually we're coming down to the 88. But now let me think. So that means the icon has 2 pixels, or has a size, plus the 12 in front, plus the 16 in the back, or at the end. Start. So keep that in mind. We have that target size, which should be increasing. That is correct. We calculate the icon internal size box by 8. That's correct, I think. And we have the width of this size box. So now let me check something. If I remove this size of 2 here, and we would calculate now. We have that width here in place, and calculator 50 plus 8 plus 48 plus the icon size that is dynamic plus 12 plus 16. But this is way too big. One of these numbers is wrong. And if I check that once more, 134 plus icon size, that's tremendous. So that is 110 actually. Maybe this one is wrong. Could that be? So if I remove 48 from it, we have 86, and then we have the size of the icon. Still 6 too much. Okay, this is just a guess game, unfortunate. 6 too much. So the problem that I have with that is that it is not consistent enough for me that I'm happy with it. This is the whole... wait, that's good. That's exactly what we want. Jeez. So it's perfectly fine. We just want to have that 48 not anymore. And these additional... now it's making sense. So if I remove that now, right? So we have this plus the icon size plus 12 plus 16. We come to that number. Is that correct? So once more, 50... plus 8 plus the icon size plus 16. So yes, fantastic. So we know this now, plus the width, fantastic, is exactly what we want. So the 48 from the wrapper is not part of that. And the other thing is, here we have exactly the same problem. So we remove that, we get this line with that icon size and the start and end. Icon size plus icon mixin. Well, adding 12 start and 16 end. So just adding that. Now we are coming to a closer solution. Here we go, 50 plus 8 plus 12 plus 16 plus the size 68. So that should run fine now. And because this is the second test, I forgot to check that double. Finally, yes, that's it. Here, these are the numbers coming from. Here would be great if I can add this button icon with, what was the name? Because I will never find that again, most likely. So to write that on myself, because nobody will find that in it. So that material button with icon mix-in, that's the bad guy. And we find that here. All right, that makes a lot of sense. So check. And then I think I can remove that because that should be enough. Oh, no, can't do it this way. Keep it like that. All right. But is that the right behavior? I think so, right? Because we check also this width here and we have the size actually. So it should be correctly tested, right? Okay, so what I will do is I push the whole thing up now. Fingers crossed that everything is okay, but on the other hand, if we create the PR and the Flutter team don't like the solution, then I think I will get some comments on that. But I think at least we have an understanding where the padding comes from. Thank you, Ayush, for that. Yeah, fantastic. So exactly what we thought. All right. So what I have to do now is I have to commit the message. Commit message, there were nothing placed, right? How we should commit message or create a commit message. Besides of it should be good. No, so the commit messages seems to be very normal, I would say. So don't require different percentage greater than the previous difference. Okay. So added the material. I need the name again. Material tab target size to the outline button constructor. So I commit the whole thing and push it up to my repository, to my fork. For this, I will log in to GitHub. I will do that up here. Get my key web open. Whoop. Would take a second, sorry for that. So okay. Okay. That's weird. It's great that nothing works today. That's so weird. What is now wrong? If I'm searching for GitHub, I thought my credentials are set already. Yeah, so my user is there. Ah. Do I push to the fork? Oh, I push to origin. That is not a good idea. Okay, so push to the fork. Okay. So yeah, push to the fork. To this one, that's fine. What is he trying to do here? Okay, sorry for that. Somehow my GitHub stuff is don't working like I expected to work. So many stuff to do. So many security requirements here. So thank you. let's see if it's getting merged. Then you, I'm very proud to be at least having something, and it just took 3 hours and the help of you, and was nearly your solution at the end. So, but I think that's the perfect thing of teamwork, right? At the end, everything works together. That is so weird. I don't get that now. So why is there such an issue? SSH add. That should be this one. Identity edit. Maybe now it works. Okay, another possibility would be checking the remotes fork. And we are doing it via the HTTPS. And what I want to do actually is to take the SSH. Maybe this helps. So I copy the SSH here. And I will change that fork to the SSH part. So hopefully now it works better. Not on the origin, on the fork, please. Push. Ah, way better. Okay, I don't know what was the hiccup here. Never happened before, but you know, always if you do something. Okay, and now the next part. How do I create a pull request for the Flutter repository actually? Nearly all the pull requests that I saw were insane big. Checklist before adding tests related issues. Okay, let's see if I get them automatically whenever I create a pull request. So I take that one. And you can see, yeah, so it automatically creates me the important part here that I wanted. And now I can read through it and I can just double check. Hey, Android user, nice to see you. You missed the whole shocking changes here. So we wrote a lot of tests. Okay, we got all that in place. That's fine. And we added everywhere that material tab target size. Okay. It's your first time opening a pull request in this project. Be sure reviewing contribution and code of conduct. I did both. And now let's read. Description. Replace this paragraph with a description of what this PR is doing. If you are modifying existing behavior, describe the existing behavior, how this PR is changing it, and what motivated the change. If you are changing visual properties, consider including before-after screenshots. Well, I did. I hope I don't have to provide the screenshots in that case, because it is just a constructive part, which anyway were already existent, so I think it is not a changing one. We created a pull request on Flutter GitHub actually together. Thanks to Ayush, I was also able to really finish it off today. That's really a great solution, and it's my first PR in the GitHub repository. So let's see, replacing this paragraph with the description of the PR is doing. Okay, so the PR adds the material tab target size property to the outline button constructor. This was missing this, and I can link, I think, that issue with it. Replace it with a list of issues related to this PR from our issue database. Indicate which of the issues are resolved or fixed by this PR. Okay, so this is this, and this is fixed in this PR. Okay. Sorry, I'm rumoring for myself, but I add now the related issues, that one that is fixed, and I will also add the PR that is part of this here, that everyone is aware that there was also a second PR, a second thing that someone missed the property here. So I will add that also into the comparing. And I can remove that one here. And I think I don't need that related. I added. Let's see. I added the following test. Replace this with a list of tests that you added as part of the PR. A change in behavior with no test covering it will likely get reverted accidentally sooner or later. PRs must include tests for all changes, update, and fixes of behavior. I did that. See test coverage. Cool. So we added the test for that. So I removed this. I added the following tests. And the name of the test would be, I hope it is enough if I'm just adding the name of the test. Cool. So before create this PR, confirm that it meets all requirements listed below by checking the relevant checkboxes. This will ensure a smooth and quick review process. I read the contribution guideline and followed the process outlined there for submitting PR. So before I check that, I will do that once more because it's my first time, right? So where do I find that? I think I can close that off. Contributor guideline. So triage, issue hygiene, contributor access, Flutter design doc template. No, that's all right. How to land a PR. Okay, so is there anything else that I have to do? Make sure your PR passes all pre-commit tests. Consider running some. That is true. Ah, good point. That is a very good point. I will do that. It was just a copy-paste thing, right? So that was a mistake. So fantastic. Outline respects now the material tab target size. Is that with the respect? Is that what happens in the other tests too? So pressed. If we check something for the constructor, respect or respect sounds like it respects something. Uses the constructor material or respects. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Constructor material or provided material tab target size respects the provided material target size. Yeah. If you have a better name for that, please add that. And in the meantime, I changed that also here. I don't need them, I think. Okay, so I read that and process outline during the submitted. I think make sure the PRs submit this branch as a PR to the relevant Flutter repository. Okay, you must follow the guidelines style guide files, not having trailing spaces, and analyzer must not report anything using, let's see what the analyzer tells us. Flutter analyze Flutter repo. If your IDE supports doing automatically, yeah, okay, so this would be here in that case. Well, I get a lot of reports, so I just hope that they are not related to my problems, so I take them. Yeah, but what I could do, yeah. Okay, and now we are ready to create that. So I say here X. We read the contribution. I signed the CLA, and I think this could be a problem. I did not. So where do I get the CLA now? Yeah, I hope that I can create a Riverpod part next week or maybe the week after. Depends on how busy we are at the moment. Once you have doing a while, someone will invite you. Where do I find the CLA now? Is there a link? No. Or review? Oh, there is. Cool. Okay, so what I will do is I will fill that out quickly. I will do it with you guys, I think. So what I did is sign a new agreement with the contributor license. Now I press only myself, right? By signing this contributor license, I understand and agree the project and contribution to the public, and that the record of contribution, including all personal information I submit, including full name and email address, is maintained indefinitely and may be redistributed consistent. Yeah, so That means whenever I push here in that repository, I will be there forever until Flutter is not anymore and GitHub is dying, most likely. So, okay. So I do that agreement with Google with the CLI. So it's my first CLA, that's why I will read that a bit more careful. Copyright owner that making the agreement with Google. For legal entities, the entity make contributions. All other entities that control are controlled by or under control. Okay, myself, that's fine. Contribution shall mean work, authorship, including any modifications. Okay. Submitted by you to Google for inclusion in or documentation of any of the products owned, managed by Google. Means any form of electronical, verbal, written communication. Fantastic. Oh, really? It's getting... Wow. If this would be the case, that would be fantastic. I would be announcing that everywhere. Would be something in my CV, the biggest and toppest one. It's like I'm part of the Flutter authors team. Grant of copyright license subject to the terms and conditions you hear by Google. Okay, so I will not sue them for copyright problems, and yeah, that's fine. Grant of patent licenses subject to the term. Okay. No charge, royalty free, that sounds all good. You represent that you are legally entitled and grant the above ability. So you all know that now I'm entitled to sign this whole thing. I have even some, how do you call that? People who are watching if you do something, not victims, the other thing. Okay, you represent that each of your contributions is original creation. Well, it was I used creation, so maybe it was 50-50. I signed it for you now with. Support for your contributions. Okay. You are not expected to provide support for your contribution. Is my desire. Yes, as basis without warranties. That's good. Cool. Should you wish to submit work that is not your original creation, you may submit to Google separately from any contribution, identifying the complete details of its source, of any license. Okay, so if I take another package and would include that to Flutter, I would pass all the licenses, restrictions, and so on to Google, and they will fact check if this is fine for them. So, and I will notify Google if something changed in any respect of that. So what I will do is adding my name and my GitHub user. Okay, and I quickly will change my email address here. Just a second. Up. Ah, I can't. Okay. So, and or no. Okay, so in this case, I will just take that one. That's fine. And with that, I agree. Now I'm part of it. Thanks. Cool. We can close that off, and we can tick the next checkbox here. So CLA is written. I read and follow the Flutter style guide, including features we expect every widget to implement. No, I don't think I have read that part. So let's see here, our style guide. Features we expect every widget to implement. Now that Flutter is mature, we expect every new widget to implement all the following: full accessibility, full localization, full support, documentation, good performance. Fantastic. So you can see, wow, this is a list that is really incredible. But does not really belong to me because the widget is already pre-existent. So I really hope that is already in place, and my change will not have any effect to that. So I give that an X. I read the tree hygiene wiki. I did that partially, so I think that should be okay for that area. And we didn't use that formatter. We wrote the documentation finally. Naming is there. I think that should be at least okay-ish. I added relevant documentation doc with ///. So do we have any docs that I should add? No, right? I said this is already part of another documentation, so I will also X that away. all existent. And you know what? This is actually a good question. So what I will do, this is a renaming of the, or changing of the test description. Push that also into that PR. And to test all tests, I will go up here and edit the configurations, because I work with IntelliJ, so I have the possibilities. And I will add all, I don't know if I can do that, but I think the easiest way would be just make a right click on the test folder. Oh, I can't. Oh, that's sad. So let me check if I run this test here. Flutter test. Okay, so now we have this configuration here. And what I will add is I will use that here to run all tests. The test scope is all in directory, and I will just pass down the test directory. Not in pub root. Neither is this one. I hope that I can just use this one, but it seems not to run like that. What is that? Either file, directory, or test in a file that is filtered by name. All in file, all in directory. I thought this should be possible. Okay, maybe there is a command that I can execute from the Flutter team, so I will check. There should be, right? So I will go back here and check for the tree hygiene. Search for test, create a branch of test coverage of Flutter. Flutter test. Is it just Flutter test, really? Oh, that would be fantastic. So let's make that small, go up and open up the terminal. Wait, but from that package, right? So what I will do is bin flutter and executing test. Where are we right now? We are in here. Is it in part of dev? Where are we actually at the moment? So this is part of dev and then tools. Yep, I'm just right now searching where I'm actually started to develop in packages. So I'm in the package of, is it packages of Flutter? So I'm searching for outline button. Where are we here? Yes, in packages. And then in Flutter most likely. Fantastic. Okay, so where are we? We are here. So that would be tools, right? No, wait. Packages, example. Not in dev. So here, cd dot. So now we go into packages. Cd packages. All right. Cd Flutter. And I think here in, is it in Flutter? More once more. Packages, Flutter, exactly. And then we have our tests here. And now we run our Flutter test. The Flutter tool you are currently running, yeah, it's all right. That makes absolutely sense. ls, so we want to use bin Flutter test. Force press test, okay. Wow, so yeah, now they are running like a lot of tests, right? That could take a while. But more interesting is the warning messages that are coming through. Looking good. Yeah, in the meantime, I can make a bit advertisement. This afternoon at 3 p.m, so in like 2 hours, we will make the next live stream where we will make the recipe app further with Marta. And I'm really looking forward to see you there. And else, if you have additional questions regarding to all of that, ask me, and I will move that question to Ayush. No, but it makes a lot of fun. I mean, this is of course very intimidating. The whole project is tremendous, right? I mean, we are now at 2,700 tests going on, and if we make a mistake, we can't do something wrong because at least one has to approve that, so we can't do something wrong, which is always helpful. And what I'm doing here is just to learn the whole thing, right? That's why we are here in Flutter Learning. So, and as you see, it is my first PR ever in an open source, not really, it is one of my first commits into an open source project, because usually I don't really work in open source. But for Flutter, it is completely different. I really want to be at the heartbeat of Flutter. And I mean, the Flutter repository is like you are deep inside of it, and you learn the most if you are work here inside, right? I mean, especially because the whole thing is so declarative, so easy to understand that everything is nested inside of each other, makes it very cool to understand. And even though that mixin thing was hard to find for us today, I mean, we had some issues there, it is still very good understandable where this padding comes from. And I'm not sure how we would have found that easier, but somewhere there needed to be internal padding. And it is good that we found that one, because now for my future work, I will know, okay, every button has this mixin. I will automatically add like these 12 pixels and 16 pixels to every button automatically. And if I want to override that, I know now where I have to look to. Oh, 4,500 tests. Do we have a number on how many tests there are for Flutter? Is it more than 16,000? Do I have to wait for another 10-20 minutes? Oh, sorry. So my key promoter X is always complaining because I don't like the number for F12, because option F12 means for my Mac like Fn option F12, which is so far away that I never use it. But I really like that tool because you can see here also your shortcuts that you miss the most. So for me it's, for example, Command B, go to declaration, because I always hold Command and click on it. But with Command B you're faster, right? Then Command 1 for project, Command R, and so on and so forth. It's pretty helpful if you want to learn more shortcuts in a very easy way. I think there's also a plugin for Visual Studio Code. Hey Flutterist, Flutterdev, how are you doing? That's a really Flutter heavy name. You're so Slapper app bar, traversal. You're very welcome. Is my computer hearable? Do you hear my computer or machine working at the moment? Because I bought this fan underneath, and I hope it is better now, because I think Hamish was very against it, that it's always flying to the moon because it was so loud from time to time. Okay, but what I can do in the meantime, because the tests are running anyway. Oh, it's okay, perfect. That's what I want to hear. I can X that off because we are working on it. Then the analyzer Flutter does not report any problems. I will also execute this one just in case that I don't come into issues. I'm crossing that off. Or no, I will not. I am willing to follow up on review comments. Yeah, I want to. Breaking change. Did any test fail when you ran them? I think this will be a no, I hope at least. Okay, links. Ah, there are all the links foundable. Ah, that's perfect. That's why I... Ah, nice. I didn't even know that this is possible in Markdown. So you register the link down here and then you use it up here. That's fantastic. Okay. I think replace means I have to delete this. And do I have my... No. Because I'm in the incognito mode. Okay. Done. This is fine. Okay, 7,100 tests. All tests passed. That's fine. Now we run the analyzer, also with the Flutter from the bin folder, right? So, and let's run the analyzer here. Okay. What is that about? Make sure you have run pub upgrade in all the directories mentioned above. Oof. Okay, so what does that mean now? I have to really... For packages in Flutter Repository, try using Flutter. So I tried the same like before, and instead of running this, I say update packages. Because I got the newest version from master, most likely now I have to re-update them. That could take a while, because as we know, getting all the packages could take some time if we are in the Flutter repository. Ah, that could be a solution, yep. So I, instead of Flutter analyze and just give it analyze, give it a dot. Now we are just analyzing this package here where we are at the moment. Thank you for that, because else we would wait long for the update of all the packages. And because we just changed it, something inside of this Flutter package here, it should work fine. But this is now just a change in the Flutter framework in front, right? This is not the engine yet. So I think it will be more interesting when we ever start to learn more about the engine. Okay, so no issues found. This is what I want to hear. Perfect. Let's add that cross here. Here we can have another X for no. We don't have any X's anymore to give. And I press on the holy button, create pull request. Are we all ready? Did I miss something? Should I give more instructions? Just for myself, I will maybe add this description once more in Grammarly. I will do that on another browser. Because my English is not that well, so I think with that we can be sure that everything is working well. All right. Cool. And it solved already something. Fantastic. And then let's create it. Yeah, I think I don't have to add someone, or I think we do that inside of the create pull request. All right. So now I created that. So you see we get automatically labels like CLAES, framework, material design, that it comes from the files that are part of it. You will see that automatically the GitHub bot and the Google bot is running. That means all the checks, all the tests and so on are running now from the Flutter team. And what I will do next is, I can't even. So I can't add any reviewers or something to the project. I don't know if I should add at least 2 maintainers with an @ sign inside of the description. I think I should do that. Oh, I got an error. Flutter build is currently broken. Ah, good. Okay, so this is something else. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I wanted to add the reviewers that I added here. Yes, exactly. So what I would like to do, I don't know if these 2 are belonging to it, but I will add them most likely here in the PR. And I hope they don't. Fantastic. Perfect, Flutterist. Hi, it would be fantastic if you could review my very first PR Flutter Repository. So I think with that we have them pinged, and I hope with the very first PR they know that this is that I'm not that experienced, so I hope they are nice with me. And all the other things should run through, and that's it. I hope. Exactly 100 lines, nothing deleted. We just added stuff. Okay, cool. Let's see what everyone is telling me. I'm really curious. We will see latest. Maybe we make another live stream where I just go about that. I believe you, no worries. It's just, you know, if it's the first time, you always want to don't make any mistakes. So this is all part of it. I think that's fine. If we get some updates on that PR, most likely I want to do another live stream or something where we just talk about that and see how the next progress is there, so everyone is aware of that. If it is getting merged, you will hear it because I will shout like crazy from here. Hi Shazan, nice to see you. And I think that's it for now. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for your help and your support, Ayush. It's fantastic. With that, we are coming further. And now I'm officially a Flutter doctor with the PhD. I read a lot on Twitter today. It's fantastic to see that. And we are getting better and better, right? All together, we are getting better and better. Fantastic. I love that. Thanks so much. And we see us this afternoon, right? See ya and enjoy the rest of your day. How do I...